You are listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Wednesday the 19th of March, 2025. It is 88 days after the winter solstice. It is one day before the spring equinox. By the French Republican calendar, it is the 29th day of Venteuse, the day of the frêne, the ash tree. The sun rises today at 7 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 1:03 p.m. The sun sets today at 7:07 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 7:34 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 8:06 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes, 43 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning gibbous phase and is 76% full at midday. The last quarter will arrive on Saturday, the 22nd of March. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the wee hours, high tide, 2:06 a.m., 1 meter 43. In the morning, low tide, 8:21 a.m., 0 centimeters. In the afternoon, high tide, 2:35 p.m., 1 meter 25. In the evening, low tide, 8:33 p.m., 15 centimeters. In our shared realm of plants and animals, on the emerging tree watch, the Japanese zelkovas, or Zelkova serrata, are just putting out their tiny pointed red buds in preparation for flowering. Zelkovas, members of the elm family from Asia, are a very common street tree in the neighborhood. Commemorations. On this day in 1918, Woodrow Wilson signed an act of Congress establishing daylight savings time as part of the United States war effort in World War I. It was the first time daylight savings was introduced in the United States. On this day in 1932, the Sydney Harbour Bridge opened in Sydney, Australia. For those of us from this corner of Long Island, it is worth noting that the distinctive spandrel arch design of the Sydney Bridge was inspired by the structure of our own Hell Gate Bridge, which opened 15 years earlier, on the 9th of March, 1917. On this day in 1945, as his regime collapsed in the face of the Allied onslaught, Adolf Hitler issued his so-called Nero Decree. He ordered that all industries, military installations, shops, transportation facilities, and communications facilities in Germany be destroyed. His decree was not carried out. A stark warning for those who follow deranged demagogues who drive their nations to ruin. And finally, we wish a happy birthday to Ursula Andress, born this day in 1936. Her breakout role was as Honey Ryder in the very first James Bond film, Dr. No. She emerged from the Caribbean in a white bikini, her shell diver's knife clipped to her hip. In 1965, she co-starred with Marcello Mastroianni in La Decima Vittima, the 10th Victim. The opening sequence of that film features her killing a man with guns mounted in her silver-spangled bra, a scene that would inspire the fembots of later filmdom. Some of her other notable films include She and The Clash of Titans. Two Italian films of note include La Montagna del Dio Cannibale, or Slave of the Cannibal God, and L'Infermiera, released in English under several titles: I Will If You Will, The Nurse, The Sensuous Nurse, and The Secrets of a Sensuous Nurse. Happy birthday, Ursula Andress. And that is the Observatory, Wednesday the 19th of March, 2025.